Yo, what up? It's Parker here, and in today's video, we're going to be discussing the 7 deadly sins sabotaging your social life. So let's not waste any time. Let's just jump right into it. Number one, the first sin is your ease of eye contact. So, what does that even mean? Okay, when you are speaking, when you are engaging with a group, when you are having a conversation with a person in terms of like a superior at work, someone that you might like to date, somebody that you want to be friends with, the ease of your eye contact when you are talking with them displays your comfortability around someone. Okay? So when you are comfy with yourself, when you're comfortable being yourself, then other people are comfortable with you. Okay? So I work with a lot of people. A lot of people tend to not even notice that they continually are looking around, not able to be present with the other person and give eye contact. A lot of these things inside of this list are some of the like deadliest, simple, stupid things that if you just began to notice and like if you could record yourself in a conversation, you would see that you are literally not giving the eye contact that you need to connect with someone. So if you feel like you're bad at making friends, if you feel like you're not great at connecting with others, literally first thing that you can start thinking of is eye contact. Okay. And a mantra that you can kind of keep in your head is that people actually want you to be comfortable with yourself. Okay. I know it's a crazy concept. Okay. Most of the time we think that we're in like a kind of a competition when we're socializing. No, people want you to be comfortable with yourself. Okay. Because it makes interactions more engaging and far less awkward for them. Okay. And so what you have to understand is that the more comfortable that you are with yourself, like everything that you do is a display to other people. So when you feel comfortable with yourself, you are basically giving other people permission to feel comfortable with you. Okay? The world treats you basically how you tell the world to treat you. Okay? So you have to be comfortable with yourself. Understand that people want you to be comfortable with yourself so that they can feel comfortable around you. And a big thing that's going to be like a telltale sign is that eye contact. Boom, numero uno complete. The second deadly sin sabotaging your social life is you're not engaging the group. Okay, so what does that mean? Engaging the group is another one of those subtle things that you start to notice in meetings at work or just with a bunch of friends. Start looking and start paying attention to kind of that one person that everyone looks to, that one person that's kind of like the leader of the group. And what you kind of start to notice is people don't speak individually to other people. Okay, if I was not speaking to the camera right now and I was speaking to an audience, I wouldn't just be speaking to like that one person that everyone looks to, that everyone's like following, right? I wouldn't just be speaking to that person and be like, blah, blah, blah. I would be engaging the entire group. Okay, this is very, very important. And it's very, very subtle, but start to notice it with when you're in conversations, when you're in meetings at work. Notice how people do that. And the people that actually have great social skills are great communicators that people want to be around. They are engaging the entirety, the totality of the group, not just the one person that's like in charge of everything. Okay. And so I said baboon's social hierarchy here. The reason is because baboons basically have the most similar like social hierarchies to humans. And what they noticed is the leaders of these baboons, what ends up happening with them is they engage everyone in the group. They don't speak, obviously, they communicate through other ways, obviously. But then they'll find that the betas of the group will just address the like alpha leader. Okay. And those betas of the group actually have worst chemicals, like chemicals that are making them basically like anxious or the same things that would make humans anxious and things like that in social interactions. And they just engage one person, be engaging everybody. Okay. I know it's so deadly simple and stupid, but you're going to start seeing massive differences in the way that people treat you. Okay. So I'm just trying to give you like very, very simple things that you can do that actually have a huge, huge effect in your social life. Okay. Moving on to number three. Number three is body control. Body control. So, what is this? Nervous energy is released through your movement. Adrenaline is basically trying to escape the body. That's the only way that adrenaline can escape the body. So, this manifests itself in things like being fidgety, or like pacing back and forth or rapid movement. Okay, something that I can kind of compare this to is when I was growing up, I played baseball a lot. Like baseball was my life. Every single weekend we would do like travel ball, we'd go everywhere. And you'd see all the dads with like the kids, and they wouldn't be able to like sit in the bleachers anywhere. They'd be in the outfield, like behind the fence. They'd be on the sidelines just like pacing back and forth like, oh shit, my 12-year-old son better go yard right here or else I'm screwed, or else he's about to get a fucking whipping when he gets home. So notice that, and notice the people that when you're around them, they're fidgety, they can't take up space in their own kind of environment. They're not, what did we say earlier? They're not comfortable with themselves. Eye contact going everywhere. So yeah, I give you some examples. Some more examples are like fast hand movements while you're speaking. Okay, constant like seat repositioning. They don't know where to put their hands. They're not making themselves comfortable in a space. So like if you go to somebody's house, you're just like standing around in the corner, like waiting for them to be like, hey, you can have a seat, right? And a lot of times it's like, I don't know why I'm using this specific example, but it's just something that I remember myself doing a lot when I was younger. And it was just like, I didn't want to be a burden to people, right? But when you're not just doing normal shit like sitting down or just making yourself comfortable in a space, you're being more of a burden because it's like you're just making other people like have to make you comfortable without you making yourself comfortable so they can feel good and yeah, not have to have that responsibility. So the reason I have this image of like a water or a guy in water is how would you move if you were underwater? That's kind of what you want to do with your body control. You don't want to be having all these like fast, rapid movements. You want to be more slow, controlled when you're speaking to people. Okay, or just in everything in your life. Notice even on camera right now, as I'm speaking to you, I'm kind of thinking about it a little bit more. So I'm going to be moving more in like a fluid motion, more slowly instead of blah, 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 right? And you can kind of just immediately see the difference. Okay, that was number 3, body control. Now we're going to 4, which is voice. Now, there's so much that we can talk about with voice that it's going to need many, many videos in it of itself. But I'm going to give you the basics here that's really, truly going to transform how people view you, how much attention you can get from other people, how much attention you can hold. Have you ever felt like sometimes people just stop listening to you? Or maybe you want to, make videos here and you want your watch time to increase on YouTube or on social media or even in person. And you're not just like getting the attention that you think you deserve. You think you're interesting. You're an interesting person, but for some reason, other people don't see it. And you might be a little nervous that you're boring. Da, da, da. The thing is, most people aren't as boring as you might think that they are. They just have no fucking idea how to speak so people listen. And your voice is the thing that's in control of that. Okay, so first big thing that we're going to be talking about is inflection. So what is inflection? Inflection is like one of the sins that you're doing in voice is inflection. So when you're speaking, you're going up at the end. When you're speaking, you're going up at the end? It's like you're going up at the end. You're going up at the end. Hey, I'm Parker. Hi, I'm Parker. How are you doing? Hey, how are you doing? Hey, do you want to be my friend? Hey, you should actually give me a promotion? Okay. And if you were to actually like record yourself in most of your interactions, you would notice that you're probably doing this a very, very good amount of time. And it's unfortunate. Like, look, it's just how it is. Like we were talking about with the baboons, humans we have a set of social hierarchies, and we kind of like to box people into groups inside of these social hierarchies. And by inflecting your voice, you are basically showing people that they should treat you lower than them. It's not something that I like. It's not something that necessarily anybody likes. It's just the way of the world. It's us. It's what we are as humans. It's what we do. So what you want to do is make sure that you try to be in a neutral tone while you're speaking. You really shouldn't be inflecting your voice very often, if ever. Okay. So no more seeking rapport, more neutral rapport. Okay. Next is range of expression. Having a range of expression, switching it up a bit. Okay, being interesting, not being monotone. The best people that you can really look at this that do this are comedians because they make money. Their entire job is to really entertain you, and they're never going to be speaking in the same tone, in the same cadence, at the same volume over and over and over again, like I'm doing right now. We as humans were able to pick up that pattern very, very easily, and then we get bored. Okay, we just get bored. You have to have different pattern interrupts. Okay, so if you know anything about social media, a lot of times what you want to do at the start of a video is you want to have a pattern interrupt, something that people aren't expecting. Okay, and the same thing is on a more larger scale with your voice and your communication is you need to have a different form of expression. Switch it up a little bit. Go fast. Go slow. Go louder in volume. Go softer in volume. Okay? Make sure that you're changing up the pattern constantly so people aren't actually getting bored. This is massive. It is huge. Huge. Again, I'm going to keep repeating this theme throughout the video. These are things that you think are like very small. They're not. Okay? They are absolutely not. I wish you could have a film crew showing you all of this. Okay? But you can't. And so you just have to take my word for it that you need to have a much better range of expression. Next is pausing and being comfortable with silence. When you're consistently trying to fill up the space and fill the void of awkward silences or what you want to say with ums and ahs and so, again, you're signaling to other people that you are not comfortable with yourself, that you feel like you yourself do not have enough or as much value. When you can sit with the silence, again, you are going to be treated much better. So that's a huge one. And then finally, we have vocal projection. You're just not being loud enough. You're not being loud enough. And I know if you might be like a quiet person or like a bit of a shy person, as I used to be growing up, that can feel a little weird and annoying. Like you don't want to be loud, you don't want to be obnoxious, but you have to start looking at it in a very different way. When I tell you to be louder with your voice, you can understand that, but that doesn't mean that you're actually going to do it. It's very weird. It's very strange. And the reason is because your brain, the literal chemistry inside of your brain, like the DNA or your nervous system or whatever you want to call it, it is fighting against you. Okay, you were born to blend in. That's kind of how humans have kind of evolved. That's how we are kind of like safe, because if you used to stand out back when we were in tribes, you were most likely killed, right? A few of like the top leaders and stuff had great lives, but if you continue to stand out, like those leaders fought each other and they would die off, right? So human evolution basically you were essentially bred to blend into the crowd, okay? And standing out in your head means it's very, very dangerous. Like you are going to get bashed with a stick or outcast, and that means death, okay? So it's very, very difficult in our head to even do things that are going to make us stand out in the modern world. But the thing is, in the modern world, like you fucking have to stand out. You have to stand out in the modern world to live a good life now. That's just the way it is, right? There's a shrinking middle class, obviously, with like the rich are getting richer while the average person is really getting left behind. But the same fucking thing is true with people who live good social lives and people who don't live good social lives. So you either have like incredible social life, like the ones you see all over social media with like a ton of friends, a great dating life, you're going on trips with cool people, having a ton of fun, etc., etc., etc. Or you basically have like no social life, okay? And it's sad, but it's very, very true, okay? This gap is widening more and more and more. And you're smart, you've seen it already. And it's kind of like you have the same friends, routine, you have the same routine, you kind of have the same quiet life. And the reason is simply because your brain is literally not allowing you to stand out. You're trying to be safe. And so I'm going to talk about this in other videos as well, but just start to realize that It's so funny, but the better vocal projection that you actually have, the louder that you can be, the more people end up paying attention to you. Okay. It it's just how we are naturally wired. It basically projects and it shows people, it displays people that you are not afraid. That like you're not afraid of being outcasted. You're not afraid of getting bashed into the head. Even though consciously it's like we don't live in that society anymore, that's how it's displayed. But it's like, thank God that we don't live in that society anymore because, I would have definitely been killed by, a 6'5" monster many, many years ago. You know what I mean? Like, we have cheat codes now. Thank God. And using your voice the right way is one of those massive, massive cheat codes. All right. Moving on to numero cinco, comparison. Okay, so comparing yourself to other people. Everybody says, don't compare yourself to other people. Just be yourself. Just be yourself. And like, um, I don't want to go too like normie on you or anything like that. Yeah, like of course that's true, but I want to give you the real reason why you shouldn't be comparing yourself to people and how to actually fix it. Okay, none of this normal, just put yourself out there bullshit. Okay, you need an internal calculus. Okay, you need to understand you yourself, why you are valuable, why you are valuable in the world, to other people, just to yourself. Otherwise, you are sabotaging your social performance. You have to create a list of why you are valuable. This shouldn't be something that just takes 5 minutes. You should spend an actual week truly, truly like writing down what it is that makes you unique, one of one, and valuable. Okay? Because when I know I have value, it is easy to speak. It's easy to project my voice. Okay, remember how I told you earlier, like most of you can't even, not just most of you, just most of the world can't even project their voice, even if I told them to, even if they were consciously working on it. You'd be so surprised, guys. You'd be so surprised. Even if they're consciously told to do it, they can't do it because their nervous system is literally telling them, their brain is literally telling them, don't do it. Don't do it. You're going to get killed. You're going to die. But when you know you have that value, then it's very, very easy to actually project that voice. It's easier to free associate, to not run out of things to say because you're not constantly questioning yourself like, oh, but if I say this, then they're going to think this about me. They're going to think that about me. They're going to think this, right? You're not like, you don't have that governor controlling what comes out of your mouth and basically making you uninteresting, making you boring. And you're able to actually have good and positive energy. Okay, it's like, imagine that you were on the side of the road and you had $1 million and you were going to give it to somebody. You wouldn't be going up to people and being like, hi, I have $1 million for you. Aha. Be like, yo, hey, you'd have incredible and good and fun and positive energy. You'd be funny, you'd be witty, you'd be quick, you'd be smooth, you'd be confident because you know you have something valuable to give to somebody, right? And you have to have that same internal calculus when you're just having normal conversations, when you're out and speaking to people, when you're meeting people, when you're at work, when you're dating, when you're doing all the things that you need to do socially. Otherwise, what's going to happen? Otherwise, what's going to happen is you are going to see other people and the things that are so dumb that stupid people think is like what dictates you having a good life. Like, somebody's looks. You might look at somebody and say, oh, that person looks cooler than me. Oh, that person is prettier than me. Oh, that person's taller than me. Oh, that person has more money than me. Okay. And obviously these things are important. I'm not going to lie and say they're not. But if you don't actually have an internal calculus of what you bring to the table, guys, you can find something that other people are better than you at in every single instance. Okay, but if you can't hold your own frame and understand why you're valuable, then you are never going to be able to be a good communicator or have a good fucking social life because you're constantly going to be comparing yourself to other people who other people are always going to have other things that are better than you. And then what are you going to feel? You're going to feel like shit. You are going to feel bad. You are not going to feel like you have value. And when you feel like that, you're not able to communicate effectively. You freeze up. You run out of things to say. Okay. Is this like, are you starting to understand this? Are you understanding why it's very, very important to like spend a week and understand like that list of why you are personally valuable? Because nobody can take those things away from you. You you internalize it and you understand why you personally have that value, and it just becomes so much easier to communicate. Okay, so that was the fifth deadly sin. Now we're moving on to number six, which is defensiveness. What happens when you are defensive in conversations? You're trying to protect your take, you're trying to protect your identity, your ego, is you are basically signaling to other people your insecurity, you're signaling your fragility, you're signaling your need for external validation. Okay, so what you're going to notice, whether you're like in the office, like doing some office politics bullshit, if you're starting to navigate different social groups and social arenas and speaking to other people who are pretty like socially savvy, is there's going to be moments where you are essentially tested. And it's not necessarily that people are like doing it on purpose and people are dickheads or anything like that. It's just us. It's how we humans operate and navigate the world. And it's how we're able to see and really view other people and know how to treat them. We are basically throwing out tests to a lot of people to see kind of their confidence levels, and see just who they are as a person. A lot of people don't even know that they're doing it. Okay. And so being defensive is one of the worst things that you can do. This is a little bit less obvious than the other sins that we've talked about already, but you've probably seen it in your own life. When you are defensive with another person, you are admitting that that other person's reality is more valid than yours. Their judgment or their criticism is threatening your identity. Okay? Very, very, very important to do this. So if anybody even gives you something like a some advice or something like that, and you kind of just like take it as, and you're kind of just like defensive about it, it's a big no-no. Okay, so how should you respond? How should you respond when you're thrown one of these tests, or you start to feel that feeling coming up where somebody might be judging you, or people are looking at you? The secret weapon to avoiding being defensive is simply amusement and indifference. Okay, because there will be moments where you feel defensive about your ego and your identity, because there's always these little tests being thrown your way. You simply have to respond with being amused by it and being indifferent by it. You don't take it seriously, because the moment that you take it seriously is when you lose, because then you enter into the other person's frame. So when you get defensive, you're stepping into another person's frame and you're entertaining the idea that the other person's worldview is more valid than yours. Most people are walking around not knowing anything. Everybody's bullshitting their way through everything. Okay, so internalize that, understand that, know that your worldview is just as valid, if not more valid, than anybody else's. And the way that you think about yourself is the way that you will come across and respond to other people. It's very, very important to not come across as defensive. And then finally, the seventh deadly sin, sabotaging your social life, is you are not getting enough feedback. Okay, so what does that mean? You're not getting enough feedback. Well, earlier in this video, we were talking about the idea that you don't have a camera following you when you're speaking to other people, when you're at your job, when you're talking to your boss, when you are in a crowd, when you're with friends, etc., etc., etc. You can't actually tell how you're coming across. And I'll give you a good story about that. So when I was younger, obviously I had pretty bad social anxiety. I was very, very shy. I was very, very quiet. And I was walking around looking something like this. Okay, this is my face. This is my resting bitch face. And I was just like, I didn't know why. I didn't know why I was like struggling socially. I didn't know why I wasn't having the types of conversations or like relationships or friends that I wanted to have. And this was literally going on for years. And then what I was doing for work, it was actually really, really important that I started to have a good sense of social skills, or was able to just be liked by people. And so I paid a guy a good amount of money who was like a social skills coach, essentially, to follow me around and see what I was doing, just like acting like my friend as we go up to random strangers and talk to people. And after paying him thousands of, like, my work actually paid this person thousands of dollars to do this and help me out and do this, one thing was popping up, and I was thinking that it was going to be this crazy, like, this crazy life advice, this crazy deep thing. But no, it was simply that I needed to smile more when I was having these conversations. Okay. Now, at first I was a little mad. I was like, okay, well, you just got thousands and thousands of dollars for telling me to smile more when I'm having these conversations, smile more to people. And I'm definitely not telling you that you need to smile more. The point that I'm trying to make here is you need specific feedback because everybody is different, and your ego and your identity, it's very, very difficult to tell like what you actually need. Okay, so think about it like this. If somebody comes to you for advice, like if a friend comes to you for advice about like maybe business or about a relationship or something like that, it's actually pretty easy to give them that advice, right? It's pretty damn easy because you yourself are kind of taken out of the mix. You're able to look at it objectively. But when it's about yourself, something tricky pops up and you begin overthinking things and you start to see different options and different reasons why other things will work, other things won't work, etc., etc., etc. But you need actual feedback from people to tell you how it is. And this simple thing of smiling more when I was having these conversations with people, it changed the directory of like my entire life. It was so simple and so stupid, but it changed absolutely everything when I was having these conversations with people because I just didn't know. I didn't know that it looked like I was uninterested when I was speaking to them. Okay, I didn't know that. And so just simply practicing smiling more, it literally changed absolutely everything. Like I said, that doesn't mean that you need to smile more. A lot of people actually like smile way too much, and it just comes off a little bit like needy. Um, but that's something that we can talk about in a separate video. But the point that I'm trying to make here is the most important thing that you can do is get actual feedback from people that are unbiased, that will tell you what it is. The problem is, when you start working on your social skills, the only really way to do it is to get reps, right? Guys, just watching this video, it's not really going to do anything for you. How crazy is it that I'm telling you that right now? I'm telling you, just watching this video for the past, I don't know, 30 minutes or whatever, it's not really going to help you. It's cool. You're learning stuff. You can keep watching more videos. You can keep reading books about how to be a good socializer, how to communicate well, how to, be a likable person, never run out of things to say, never freeze up, etc., etc., etc. But what's actually going to fix that problem? What's actually going to give you a better social life? It's actually fucking talking to people. You have to talk to people. But it's hard. It's hard to go out and, get ready, spend a couple hours going up to random strangers and having awkward and like maybe embarrassing conversations, hoping they don't think you're weird, etc., etc., etc. It's not fun. And so most people never do it. Most people never actually go out and get the practice and the reps that they really need. And so that's why I created something called Icebreak. If you go to joinicebreak.com, you're going to be able to find my private social gym. And it's a private gym where you get to actually start practicing speaking to people. You get to practice building your confidence and not being awkward while not having to go out and like embarrass yourself in public with other people. You just log on like once a day, have a 5-minute social drill, speaking drill with another human being, another real person that's working on their goals of increasing their social skills as well. And then you're done for the day. A few minutes of that, you actually get the fucking reps. You understand? It's super cool to like learn about this stuff, right? It's obviously cool to understand how to be excellent at socializing, how to stop sabotaging your social life. But if you're not getting the real reps, nothing's going to change. Okay. So if you don't want to join the gym, that's totally cool. I really don't care. But what I do care is that you start going out and talking to people and getting reps and messing up and embarrassing yourself, maybe bringing a buddy along and helping and having that person with you show you and give you feedback that can tell you like what you're doing, what you could be doing better. Because just like it did for me, I promise you that that feedback can change a lot of things. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm gonna be making a lot more in the future. This was kind of like my first one back in a very long time. But yeah, I had fun. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.